1988, I was invited to give a talk in a prison on the topic of anger and resentment and forgiveness. I had never been in a prison before, and when I arrived that morning at 9 o'clock, there were 120 men waiting for the talk to begin. And I just sensed a tremendous yearning from them to make meaning of their life and to grow and to use their time constructively. And I started teaching courses on emotional literacy skill building.
So, emotional literacy, what do you think that might mean, emotional literacy?
I decided that I really wanted to be able to share the spirit and the content of this work with prisoners across the country, and decided that writing a book would be an effective way to get this work out to prisoners everywhere. So I started the Lionheart Foundation in order to support that, so that the books could be sent for free to every prison library in the United States. And to date, we've distributed over 85,000 copies of the book, and it's really changed the nature of programming in many prisons across the country.
The people that are incarcerated, that need that extra hand, that extra helping, Houses of Healing can be a foundation to help them grow into the member of society that everybody wants.
Before, I would, if I needed money, I would go in the supermarket and rob it. And today I have a business.
To see my change now, it's like they cannot believe it. You know, my family is so happy for me. They like the fact that I'm out here, I'm working, I got my own car, my own apartment, and I'm doing well. And they're very proud of me.
I left prison, I came to URI, I passed my classes, and I stayed strong.
House of Healing taught me how to cope with things. I gained peace from it.
Had I not shown up for House of Healing, then the relationship between me and my son wouldn't be how it is right now, because I would still have that anger, I would still have that resentment for a lot of things. You know, I still would show blame for things that I always blamed others for, never took responsibility for.
After Houses of Healing was in distribution for a few years, more and more people who worked with highly at-risk adolescents started to come to us saying, we need an adolescent version of this emotional literacy curriculum for this highly at-risk population. And I joined forces with my niece, Bethany Kasarjan, who had been working with the highly at-risk adolescent population, to write the book Power Source.
Many of the young people we were working with, kids 15, 16, 17, who had terrible difficulty managing and regulating their own emotions, and who came from families where there was a history of incarceration and drug abuse and addiction and foster care. We saw these young people who were not really in control of their own lives and their own emotions. And so we knew that if we were going to have any effect in ending the cycle, that we needed to have an intervention that was designed specifically for these young people. And so we wrote Power Source because when we looked out there, there was nothing that really addressed the specific emotional needs of these young people.
According to the National Academy of Sciences, there are over 20 million youth in this country that are at risk of not achieving positive adulthood. And what that basically means is 20 million teens who may not be able to become productive citizens, many of them on a trajectory into the criminal justice system, which oftentimes becomes self-perpetuating, and it means that they won't function as responsible, mature adults in the world.
Didn't have much growing up. I mean, grew up in the projects, and it was just hard for us.
My mom was real abusive.
My dad went to jail.
Single mother that was on drugs.
Sometimes we felt like she really didn't want us.
When I turned 15, that's when I got pregnant.
And my mom couldn't pay the bills because she was so heavily into drugs, so we got homeless.
Going to lockup. I was locked up for a long period of my youth.
Having worked in at-risk education since 1968, I want to say that this book is the strongest contribution to saving lives.
It really took young people who were the highest
risk, who were at the highest risk from everything, and really got them to sit still for a while. And I don't think that I've ever seen anything like that ever. And I brag about this all the time. I say, Power Source is the way to go with these young people.
There is nothing of its kind in the country, period. I mean, there are 8 zillion educational videos, and there are books, and there are courses and all these things, but I have never seen anything that I think is as clear and as simple as Power Source.
I see what it does. I see it every day, how it works, how it stops a lot of the pain so that a kid can look at the risk behavior pattern and say, hey, there is a way out. This is my manual for survival. That's what the kid can say. We have 15,000 books. This is, if I had to prioritize the books on our list, this would be the #1.
Even for a young person that doesn't understand or cannot read, this book is powerful. And they want to learn how to read because of this book.
The 5,000 kids that come in every year get to look at Power Source, and one by one, they get to really interrupt the cycle of despair that emerges from a lost childhood. They are then able to develop the skills for living in the world.
If I was to tell you why you should support this, it's because you're saving young people's lives.
I'm so strong right now, like nothing can destroy me. That's how I feel.
It's all behind me, and I have nothing but opportunity in front of me to do great things with myself, and I know I will.
We wrote Power Source Parenting because when we looked out there, there was nothing that really addressed the specific emotional needs of these young people. I think you can't underestimate how incredibly powerful, informative early interactions are between a parent and a child. And if your model for parenting includes violence and neglect or aggression to shape your behavior, then I think the outcome is quite clear.
A vast amount of our resources are given away for free. Probably about 80% of those in circulation have been donated to programs all across the country. Currently, we have 55,000 copies of Power Source in circulation. It's being integrated into 2,500 programs across the United States, and we see this as just the tip of the iceberg.
If you can go to the root cause of a problem and deal with it there before it amplifies exponentially into all kinds of social costs, then you're doing something truly significant. I think that what Lionheart is doing is perhaps one of the most significant, important social ventures that I'm aware of in this country.
This is sort of part of a larger, more exciting restorative justice movement. And Robin's work is achieving increasing recognition. She's being invited by corrections authorities to come and train their staffs.
We're very pleased with the investment we've made in the Lionheart Foundation with their Power Source program, and extremely proud of what they've accomplished.
At any moment, from the good hearts of people, something can arise that completely changes our society. And I think Lionheart has not only the capacity to do that, it has the track record, it has the proof. It has changed so many people and changed so many families.